Hey, what's up, you guys? I'm Bill from Good Old Days Gaming, and welcome to Mega Man X3, the Zero ROM hack that was developed by a guy named Justin3009, or 3009. If you want to download it yourself, you need a Mega Man X3 ROM, and then you need to go, just do a Google search for X3 Zero Hack. I think it's like romhacking.net, and you should be able to find it, and I forget everything you have to do to get it. You have to like attach it to the X3 ROM and somehow create another file. I've had this on my computer for years. I forget exactly how I did it, but there's a README on how to do it on the website. So this is post-commentary, and the reason for that is because I actually played this on SNES 9X, the emulator, and I put a hammer taped down to one of my buttons and played this with frame advance on, as if it was a tool-assisted speedrun, except I just wanted to play it in slow motion, so I just had frame advance held down the entire time. And the reason for that is because I am terrible at X3. X1 is the best game in the series, has the best music, the best bosses, it's just the best all around. And my friends and I always say this, we have the Mega Man X collection for the GameCube, and we always said, each game gets a little bit worse than the previous one. So the best one is X1, then X2, then X3, then X4, 5, and 6. However, in recent years, I put 4 and possibly 6 above X3. So yeah, you can really... I don't play any better. This is not a speedrun by any means. This is just using frame advance so I can actually beat the game, especially with Zero. Because the idea with this ROM hack is you can play as Zero in every single room, because normally in X3, if you approach any kind of boss chamber, a dialogue box appears and is, what's his name, Mega Man X. He comes in and says, "I'll take it from here, Zero," or whatever, and then you can't do anything with Zero. And if Zero dies, he's gone forever. So this ROM hack, the big key thing is you can use Zero everywhere. He can use all the boss items, and it's pretty cool in that respect, because you can use the saber on every boss. And if you die, it's just like if X dies, you just try again. He's not like permanently gone, so that's pretty cool. But as far as how Zero controls, his sprite is bigger, so he has a bigger hitbox, and he's got, what, 4 levels of X-Buster charge, or Z-Buster in his case. And the final one, if you charge it all the way up to green, allows you to swing your saber once, but it's like very short range. Nothing like X4, 5, and 6 playable Zero. Like, this is very clunky, and like if you're playing X3, there's never a reason to switch to Zero ever, because X is just far more agile and he has a smaller hitbox. It's just a waste of time to play as Zero. But this ROM hack is cool, and the whole reason it's cool is because, especially in X1 and X2, I've always wanted the ability to play as Zero, and it bothered me that you couldn't. And then X3 is cool in the sense that it does allow you to, but he's just so much worse compared to X, which doesn't make sense because in the games, in the X series, Zero is so much more powerful than X all the time, and he's kind of just like his backup buddy for when X really needs help. But if you know what you're doing, this could be a lot of fun. I just am terrible at X3. I think it's the hardest game in the entire X series. I haven't played 7 and 8, because I just don't have the console that's available on. But as far as X1 through 6, I think X3 is by far the hardest game in the series. I don't know why. The enemies, to me, they're perfectly positioned and they have the perfect attacks so that no matter what you do, you get pounded. Whereas X1, you could just fly through that game and it's amazing. X2 is pretty good too. But as far as like the music too, X1 wins it by far. It's very Super Nintendo metal. And then the instrumentation that they used for X2, it's kind of weird, but you can definitely tell. Listen to any track from X2 and you know it's from the second game in the series because of the sound font it uses. And X3 is the same, and I think the music in this game is so bad compared to 1 and 2. Like, really, this game just gives me a headache when I have to play it for real, and I don't know why. So why am I playing this? Because I could play as Zero on the Super Nintendo sprite. Zero's Super Nintendo sprite. And use them to fight bosses and stuff. And to me, that's pretty cool because out of X and Zero, I like Zero better. So you can see, even with frame advance, I missed that jump. I think at the time I was not paying attention. I was just like, oh yeah, the capsules right here. It's a pain in the neck playing with frame advance too. It's so slow and choppy. Yeah, I think like a year or two ago I tried to record this and I just couldn't do it. I got so frustrated and I kept dying in stupid spots and it didn't look clean at all. So like no way was I gonna upload it to YouTube, so I figured out a way to at least make it playable for me. And I mean, some people might think this is the best X game, and okay, that's cool for you, I guess, but I just don't like it. But playing as Zero is pretty cool. And see, this music, how does anybody like this music? It's just very dull. It's kind of one of those songs that... You know how every game has that song that just grinds in your head? And it usually happens, you notice it when you start failing. Like if you keep getting hit by an enemy or you keep missing a jump, then you start realizing the music that's playing and it just gives you a headache. This is that song to me. And every stage has that. There's like very few good tracks in this game to me. Blizzard Buffalo is a fun boss, though, to fight as Zero. Because you get the 2 shots and then the Z saber with your full charge. So you get 1, 2, then run away. And then time your slash, and it does a decent amount of damage. I don't think it does as much damage as when X obtains Zero Saber in the actual game in Doppler Stage 2. But it still does a decent amount of damage. And the guy who made this, he altered the dialogue as well, so it actually makes sense. And like in cutscenes where Zero's supposed to appear to help out X, he changed stuff around so X actually appears, and the dialogue he uses, he actually addresses Zero, whereas like in the earlier versions of this ROM hack, it didn't do that. It still said, X, I'm here to help, or whatever. So yeah, with X3 you go to Blizzard Buffalo first to get the Frost power up, and to get the boots primarily, just like in going to Chill Penguin first in X1. And then you come here to Tunnel Rhino, even though you don't have his weakness, because after you beat 2 Mavericks, Bit and Bite appear, if you're not familiar with X3 at all. And they're really tough, and Frost and with the item you get here, T-Fang, are both the weaknesses of those 2 guys. Although I think in terms of like, speedruns and stuff, it's best not to destroy Bit and Bite with their weakness, so that they appear again in the Doppler stages and that boss is faster than if you do actually defeat them. So once again, as you see, we can go through these hatches no problem. Normally you can only use Zero in 1/3 of the level. Every level is split into thirds. The first third, then you go through that hatch, and it's either Bit and Bite or a mini-boss. Every stage has a mini-boss door, and 1 door for Bit and Bite should they appear. And then, of course, the final third is the boss. And each of those thirds is separated by those hatches. And if this is just regular X3 and not this ROM hack, if you selected Zero in the pause menu, you could only use him for 1 set of the stage before each hatch. And he's not allowed inside of any hatches to fight Bit or Bite, any mini-boss, or the final stage boss. He's only playable within the stage itself. And again, if he dies, he's gone forever. And it also gives you one of the worst endings, because he's dead. So it's really stupid, but it was cool that they played with the idea of making Zero playable before the PlayStation games came out. And I really wish somebody would make a ROM hack to make him playable in X2 at least. And X1 especially, but I realize that's a lot harder to do because there's no code within those games that actually has a playable Zero sprite. Like, it would have to be remodeling X to look like Zero and then playing just like X. Tunnel Rhino is very easy too, very similar strategy to Blizzard Buffalo. Actually, of the bosses in X3, I would say these two are my favorite, just because of the simplicity of how you fight them. Then maybe Crush Crawfish. Wow, that's hard to say. Crush Crawfish. But every other boss is kind of dull. And again, I think the music is the thing. I don't know, I don't know what it is. It's very hard to explain, but... like, this music pales in comparison to X1 especially, and even X2. I mean, X2 pales in comparison to X1 with the instrument choices they used there. Four, 5, and 6 actually have some really cool tracks, though, in terms of the music. But they have that really annoying warning siren inside every boss chamber. I wish there was a way to mute that. Because every time I want to go back and play those games, that noise just grinds in my head. So here's Bit and Bite. Bit is the tiny one, Bite is the chub one. And Dr. Dopler. I forget the story of X3. Dr. Dopler has gone insane because he, like, Sigma or something is, like, infested his circuits or something. And so now Doppler's robots are all being bad or something. I don't know. I do have the X Collection book. I could go grab it and read, but I don't care. So now that they're active, they could appear randomly in any undefeated Maverick stage. So Toxic Seahorse, his weakness is the frost, whatever the heck it's called, that we got from Blizzard Buffalo. And once again, this ROM hack allows Zero to actually use the Maverick weapons, just as if he was X. Whereas in the actual X3 game, it does not allow you to use those weapons. You're just limited to the charge and saber. So clumsy. Yeah, once again, I just find this game obscenely difficult compared to 1 and 2. Like, those stupid enemies and how they just perfectly arc their stupid shots. Yeah, I got unlucky and had to fight Bit. This guy, some people find him easy if you are used to playing this game, but he can be pretty tricky. I think playing with frame advance on definitely helped me out here, because you could see I still got beat up pretty bad until I figured out the pattern. I mean, it's a very easy pattern, but it's very easy to screw up like that. I just was too slow at climbing the wall and it got screwed over. You do that enough times, you're dead. But you could use the frost weapon, but the problem here, this is really unlucky if you're playing normally, because Toxic Seahorse's weakness is the frost, but it's also this guy's weakness, so if you fight him and Toxic Seahorse, you're going to be really low on ammo. See, like, I lost a ton of health there, but because I got the last hit with the frost, it defeats Bit forever, which completely alters Doppler Stage 1's boss. Whereas if you just killed him with the Buster or any other weapon besides Frost, he just kind of teleports away, and then you would have to do the same thing for Bite. But in this run, I don't see Bite until like the very last Maverick stage. I got lucky in that sense. And another cool thing is, since Zero can just charge up 4 levels already, you don't need the Buster upgrade that's in Neon Tiger stage. You could just charge that Frost right there and get this ride armor up top. Because if you're familiar with X3 as well, if you 100% everything, get all the E-tanks, all the heart tanks, all the ride armor, and I think that's it. And then in Doppler Stage 1, about halfway through, if your health is full, you can find a hidden capsule that has the ultimate armor. And X gets this gold armor, but this ROM hack actually gives Zero his black ultimate armor from 4, 5, and 6. I'm not sure if it actually has a defense boost or anything like that. It might just be for show. But you can get it, which once again in the actual vanilla X3 you can't do anything with Zero. Yeah, if I had to rank the X games, I know I kind of already talked about this, but I didn't actually rank them. I would say X1 definitely is the best, then X2, then probably X4, and after that it's tough. 5 sucks because of its completely random ending thing, but I actually like 5 in a way. But I think 5 is the worst overall. 6 is good, but frustrating in spots. I really hate the nightmare effects in that game. Like the one stage where it's like completely black, and you just have like a little spotlight to see what you're doing. But it is a fun game. And then this one is somewhere... It's probably better than 5 and 6, but it's not better than 4. I don't know, 6 might even be better than this one to me. See, Toxic Seahorse kind of gave me a whooping too. A whooping. I think I was confused here where to go next. Volt Catfish, his weakness is tunnel rhinos. But it was really stupid of me to come here because I can't get any of the power-ups in here. I don't have the, I don't have Gravity Beetle's weapon to get the armor capsule, and I don't have ride armor. Even though I picked up that ride armor in, what's-his-face's stage just now, Toxic Seahorse. This game, you need to get the neutral armor first from, what's his name? The Bumblebee guy. I forget his name. Blast Hornet, that's what it is. Yeah, you need to get that ride armor first before you can even utilize the armor platforms in any other stage, which is really stupid. And I forgot about that. You actually see me later on in the stage go up to the ride armor platform, knowing that I need to get it to get the E-tank later on. And the message prompt to select ride armor doesn't ever appear because I didn't go to Blast Hornet yet. It's another one of the small gripes I have with this game. This music is pretty cool compared to the rest of the game's songs. I do like Zero's sprite though, too. Although I think I like the X2 sprite the best out of 1, 2, and 3. See, here's the ride armor. I was waiting for the prompt, and then I remembered I have to go to Blast Hornet first. So when we get to that part, I already chopped down the video, and it just like instantly splits to it. And I'm also gonna cut out later the one thing I hate the most out of Mega Man X games. Aside from X1, the stupid mechanic of having to refight every Maverick by stepping into a capsule and, like, Stage 3 of the Fortress stages. Every Mega Man game does it, but only X1 did it in a way that I liked, as in the Mavericks were built into the stage. It wasn't just step into this capsule, teleport back, step into the next capsule, teleport back. It's such a headache. So yeah, when we get to Doppler Stage 3, I'm basically chopping it all out, except for Dopler himself. This is Volt Catfish. See, it's cool fighting as Zero. You get that 1-2 punch and then the saber slash, and it does a crazy amount of damage. And then you just get T-Fang and sit here, and he just hops like an idiot. You get Triad Thunder from this guy, which is probably this game's best weapon in terms of just plowing through the stages. It definitely makes the otherwise difficult enemies a lot easier. Because once again, just compared to X1 and X2, the small enemies throughout the stage, I think their attack patterns and just, they're so much smarter than the previous two games' enemies. So almost every attack they have is just like perfect. See, there was a cut there. Just coming back to Tunnel Rhino to get that, and the helmet, which is a little bit later on in the stage. You charge up Triad Thunder. And this is the helmet that, if you're playing as X, it shows you a map of the stage as soon as you start it. And there's little blips on it that show you where any hidden power-up you haven't collected yet is. Yeah, so I don't have Blast Hornet's weakness either, but for the sake of the ride armor, I decided to go to him. It's another reason why I don't like this game, because it almost forces you to go to these Mavericks in an order that just is inconvenient, because you don't have their weaknesses yet. Unless you go by their weaknesses, but then you'll have to revisit some of the stages a lot more, whereas if you go in like the best order, you still have to revisit some stages, but yeah, I forgot what was up here. I was thinking of X2. It reminded me of one of the stages in X2 where there's a heart container up a wall like that. This music's not as terrible as the rest of the game. This mini-boss gave me a hard time too. It almost always does. I always forget the hopping pattern of it. There you go, you can tell that was frame advanced by how fast I was firing the little Stage 1 buster. I was almost going to commentate this post-commentary as if it wasn't played with frame advance, but then I noticed some of those spots where it's like nobody could fire that fast. So, figured I'd be honest about it. So there's the ride armor, the neutral one. There's 4 different armors. There's one that's like the kangaroo that you get in, I forget whose stage you get that in. Neon Tiger, maybe? No, it's not him. But we got the frog in Toxic Seahorse's stage, and then there's a homing one that you get in Crushed Crawfish, which we may be going to next. I remember as a kid in X1, I think it's in Sting Chameleon stage, you can just keep dashing back to the left and right, and it keeps respawning the guys in these ride armors. I used to think these things were so cool. And I would just, like, right before Sting Chameleon's boss door, I would just keep hopping in the ride armor and keep destroying the same enemies, having, like, these mech wars. I don't know. It's killing time as a kid. So that would have been Bite if he appeared. I don't know. I think it's a random number generator that makes him appear. I remember this guy being pretty tough to defeat. His pattern is kind of hard to predict. Especially when it gets down to half health, he starts flying a little sporadically. And he has this like homing attack. Yeah, see, I kept missing. I think the dude added that animation in too, because obviously it doesn't exist in the actual game. Oh no, that's right, I came back to Blizzard Buffalo to get the heart container, because you need the ride armor. I believe, anyway, you might be able to use T-Fang, but I don't think so. I think you need ride armor. Out of 1, 2, and 3, this game is definitely the most complex with the ride armor and just how many times you have to revisit the stages. The fact that each stage is much longer, split into 3 sections. This guy had a good fight on, but in the rematch in Doppler Stage 3, I did terrible for some reason. But again, I'm cutting all those rematches out. Even though fighting the bosses as zero is kind of the whole point of this ROM hack, I just personally get really tired of those rematches. And I just want to like get on to Sigma in every X game, except for the first one, because once again, they're built into the stages. And separated between 3 stages, too. It's not all back-to-back in the final stage 3. I think in the base game too, with not this ROM hack, but if you were actually playing X3, I don't think Zero can use the ride armors. So the guy added that too in the code and animations and stuff. I'm so used to fighting Bite there. It's almost like every time I play this game, Bite almost always appears in this stage for me. So down there is Vile's lab, but I skip it because I don't have Vile's weakness yet. He's got 2 weaknesses, Ray Splasher, which you get from Neon Tiger, and the spinning blade thing you get from this stage's boss. Those guys right there with the ball and chain things, if I'm not playing with frame advance on, I always have a hard time dodging them for some reason. You have to air dash at the peak of your jump, which doesn't seem hard. So I don't know why I always had trouble. But I've seen people play this game and they don't take like any damage and they make it look so easy. So I don't know. Maybe it depends on how many hours you put into it and what you grew up with. But I highly doubt Capcom will ever be able to beat X1. It just seems to be one of those series that it's like they struck gold on their first go, and then it just like never was quite as good after that. Even though they are still good. Like, the series is great, but no other game has Spark Mandrill and Launch Octopus and Armored Armadillo, Storm Eagle, Sting Chameleon. Like, every single stage's song in X1 is amazing. And this one, I don't know. It's, again, it's the sound font they use. Like that. It's just like, do you have a headache yet? I don't know. Whereas like X1 is just really awesome 16-bit metal and rock. One of these stages was an exact replica of an Ozzy Osbourne song. I forget which Ozzy song, but it's Neon Tiger stage. It's kind of funny how developers did that, because what, Sonic 3 was all Michael Jackson stuff? Sonic is another one of those series, and it's like they struck gold kind of more so on the second go of that series, and then it's kind of been like, ever since. If you go up there, you can get some ride armor, and if you carry it all the way to the end of the next 2 platforming sections, I think you need to get the hovering one that you get from Crush Crawford's stage. I think at the very end of this hallway, yeah, you could bust those crates, and there's a chip armor in there. But those chip armors are terrible. You want to not pick up any of them and save them for Doppler Stage 1, because that's how you get the gold armor capsule, which gives you all 3 of those chip capsules. Gravity Beetle is simple. Especially if you have his weakness, which is... What is his weakness? Ray Splasher? But yeah, he's dead. He just does that ricochet ball attack and then plops around. Okay, so I came back here to go to Vile Stage now that I have one of his weaknesses to permanently destroy him. And then I believe afterward, there's gonna be some quick cuts again just to pick up the remaining... Or no, not yet, because I don't have Gravity Beetle. We come back later to do that. Get all the power-ups in the stage. For some reason, that elevator didn't work. It's vibrating as if it should go up. I don't know why it didn't. I don't know if it's the ROM hack, or if I was... I'm pretty sure you just stand in there and maybe you press up, which I tried. But I don't even think you have to press anything and it just starts going up. But it is dependent on if one of the Mavericks is defeated. But if it wouldn't be vibrating like that if it wasn't active. So I don't know. Vile is a lot easier than he is in X1 as far as in his ride armor, which in X1 you can't hurt him at all, but here, once you get the pattern down, which is just timing the jump and shooting him, it's easy. Riveting stuff! But now it's actually kind of fun, because he's on foot. It took me a while to remember the pattern here. It's very easy, though. The trick is, for this, get close to him and then dash to the wall, because the closer... He fires his first few shots depending on where you are, so if you're close to him, it's very easy to just go on the wall. And then you can pretty much see what you have to do there. I just kept screwing it up. And that's his weakness. A very dumb item because you have to play with the boomerang effect of it. That's Neon Tiger's weakness as well. He gave me a decent amount of trouble too, just because of that item. I just have a hard time angling it. Because you see, they can easily dodge it if they just jump at the right time. And once again, if you're unfamiliar, defeating Vile with his weakness like that alters the Doppler Stage 2 boss. Yeah, it is Stage 2. And defeating Bit and Bite, once again, alters the Stage 1 boss. There's another example of an elevator not working. That one is definitely helpful too with all this falling stuff. I almost had a death here. I think it's on this section? Yeah. I could barely get that dash in time. I got caught on the crumbling blocks. Oh no, I did have Beetle, never mind. Yeah, so there's the quick cut to this. It's just at the top of the third elevator shaft. Or maybe it's the second one, I don't know. No, it's the third. And if you're X, this is the armor upgrade. For 0, it doesn't do anything, as far as I'm aware. And then later on in the stage, you get one of the armors, and like I tried to do initially, it destroys that floor, and there's an E-tank down here. One more Maverick to go, and then it's the Doppler stages, and this game will be done. I wanted to do X1 through 6 with using my Mega Man X collection on the GameCube, even though it's coming out for the Switch fairly soon, right? Is it this year or next year that it comes out? I can't remember. But that's one of those ones, it's like, am I gonna buy it? I already have it on the GameCube, so why would I buy it on the Switch? For likely $60. I don't know, it might be cheaper. But who knows? Maybe for the convenience, the portability, I guess that's the selling point. I am interested in the new Mega Man game that they're making. So yeah, over here you use T-Fang, and this gets you the blaster capsule. Again, for X, because Zero already has full charging capacity. It demonstrates it for you anyway, though. I really hope Zero gets added to Smash, because that could easily be his B-button special. Oh, this boss is awesome. Just because how quick you could kill him with Zero's saber. This is the song, by the way, that is an exact copy of Ozzy's song. I forget which one it is, though. Why can't I think of it? Ah, well. You can get some ride armor there, but it's kind of pointless. But see how easy it is to dodge those guys? I don't know why I have a hard time doing it. I just suck at X3, like I said in the very beginning. I thought the heart piece was up there for a second, but not yet. And here we have Bite. This guy can be a little bit difficult at times. Even using frame advance, I had trouble figuring out his pattern, because it's been years since I played this game, and it's always been the hardest one. Definitely the hardest of the Super Nintendo games. Actually, yeah, I would say it is the hardest. I think I said that already in the beginning at some point. The T-Fang is his weakness to permanently kill him. Because X5 is the easy one, right? Because it lets you select the best armor from the beginning, and then you just go to the Grizzly Slash guy and get his power, and it destroys every boss easily. It's like every boss's weakness somehow. Not really, it's only one of boss's weakness. But it kills everybody so fast that it might as well be a weakness. But the fact that the best ending is completely random and it's not dependent on what you do throughout the rest of the game is stupid. Yeah, this is where the heart piece is in this stage. Just ride that little dragonfly. I believe X6 has you revisit a lot of stages too, to collect all like the trapped soldiers and things. But it's cool, I like a lot of the mechanics in X6. At first I didn't, but it kind of grew on me. So yeah, this is Neon Tiger. I had a really hard time with him, even though I remember him being pretty easy. So I don't know what my deal was here. Just trying to angle that. See, he always does that dive slash and then dodges it, and then I ran out of ammo. Like, look how low on ammo I am. So I decided to switch off. Stupid noise. And then even with slow motion playing, I somehow was dumb enough to walk right to where he was diving. Not only does that guy have Wolverine's claws, but that power-up he does where he charges orange. I think when he slashes, a projectile comes from his slash, too. And in Marvel Super Heroes War of the Gems on the Super Nintendo, if you select Wolverine and use one of the gem powers, that's his exact power. He glows that exact same orange, and his claw slashes have a little projectile that comes out of him. So that guy's just a copy of Wolverine. So now Dr. Kane's saying Sigma's back. Doppler's built some kind of battle body for somebody other than himself, and they figure it's Sigma again somehow. Cause like Ganondorf and Zelda, he just always comes back. I think Doppler Stage 1 has some cool music. At least the most tolerable out of a lot of the songs in this game. It's frame perfect shooting. Actually, it wasn't even frame perfect, but close enough. This thing can easily be annoying. I think it's this one. Yeah. I don't know, it's very easy to walk off the edge of one of those and then get caught, and then you just instantly die. That's one of those spots where I always get wrecked. You gotta be super quick with your jumps in order to avoid damage there. And here's one of the examples of where the guy programmed X to appear instead of 0. And he even addresses him as 0. No idea how I avoided damage there, but... And then I tried to use this to avoid damage, and I took damage, so there you go. Now this is the part where you want to make sure you have full health, and conveniently they put this ride armor here, so that the armor gets damaged instead of you, because the hidden capsule is very close by. I think it's right down here, actually. Yeah, you jump out, and down here. So long as you didn't pick up any other red capsule in the other stages, and you have everything and full health, this will appear. For X it's gold armor, and for 0 it's the ultimate armor. And that it might just be a palette change for 0, but for X it gives him extra damage resistance, an ability that allows him to just fire instantly charged buster shots. And something for his helmet, too. I forget what the helmet one does. And this is the dumb boss that appears because we defeated Bit and Bite. I can easily see why people don't destroy Bit and Bite, because this boss is stupid, and I think you could destroy... Because what happens is, instead of this guy, it's Bit and Bite combined into, like, one form. But you could destroy that boss much faster than you can this guy. There's another example of clearly tool-assisted shooting. But yeah, if you destroy his nose, he makes that slime that instantly damages you, but it destroys all the little things that other things dropping down. But his hitbox is, like, his eyes, basically. You have to aim for the thing's eyes, otherwise it just gets deflected off of his body. Sigma is the same way. I hate Sigma in this game. It took me forever to figure out how to beat him. Yeah, so here you have to make sure you switch back to X. I don't think you can do it. You don't have to do it right now, but there is a point if you're playing as Zero where the game actually makes you, like, there's a unskippable dialogue scene where Zero, or X comes in and he says, Zero, be careful up ahead, and that's supposed to be your hint to switch to X. Because even in the normal X3, this stage's mini-boss, if you fight it as Zero, Zero gets permanently destroyed, and he hands his saber to X. And that still happens in this ROM hack, which is kind of really annoying if you forget. I actually did forget and had to use a save state to go back and re-record it. I also died because I was going to use X for the rest of this stage, and I died. Because X's up dash is a lot different than Zero's double jump. But yeah, this is the door. You want to go in as X. If you're trying to stay playing as Zero, anyway. Which I don't know why you wouldn't, at least in this ROM hack, because that's the whole point. Yeah, so up ahead, I continued on with the stage and died. I cut that out to where I just switched to Zero. I do think it's easier to maneuver as Zero, kind of, because his double jump is a lot easier to do than the dash you get with the boots with X, where you have to hold dash and up. It's very easy to hold dash and up and then accidentally hit, like, diagonally left or right, and then he dashes sideways into the spikes or something stupid, which is how I died. This is one of those arduous sections that you can't really do anything to avoid. I'm assuming there's a way to take damage and then wall jump off the spikes, take damage again, wall jump, and like wall jump your whole way up instead of using these snails. But I don't know any such thing, so... That is really cool though, how fast you can fire. Alright, so this boss is really simple, but if you didn't permanently destroy Vile, you have to fight a stronger Vile in here. Or actually, it might just be the same exact Vile we already fought. I can't remember, but I think he has a stronger ride armor or something. But this thing is super simple, it just kind of shoots missiles, and I get hit by it because I'm awesome. But yeah, you just keep dashing, and the saber does crazy damage to him. I think in the normal game, if you lose Zero and get the saber for X, the saber is instantly, it takes away half health on all bosses. Whereas Zero's saber here doesn't do that. Like even Sigma, I think it's just 2 hits with the saber is all you have to land. Alright, we're almost done. This is the most tedious section where we have to go into all the capsules and refight the bosses, so I'm cutting all of that out because who cares? And once all that nonsense is done, it's on to Dopler himself, who is a cakewalk, probably the easiest Mega Man X boss there is. Well, Chill Penguin's pretty easy, and Storm Eagle. So yeah, you gotta be careful. When he does that, he recharges his health if you fire at him. But that's all he does. He does that attack, and then he does this weird thing where he charges at your elevation. And then you get a quick window to attack him, and then you just repeat until he's dead. Nothing to it at all. I think later on I tried to shoot him again at that moment before he puts up that thing. But I was pretty sure he does that, his little energy shield. Yeah, right there. I just wanted to test it to see if there was a second window where you could actually attack him. That would have been it if I had all 3 hits. Now this is another reason why this game is hard. There's no good stage for filling up your E-tanks. This is the best spot, but even the enemies here are kind of difficult. I don't know, I always got hit by everything in here. So this is Neo Sigma, I believe. I completely forgot about his pattern and just kind of figured it out as I went here. If I was playing at full speed, I probably would have very likely died. More than once. His weakness is that stupid boomerang attack, whatever it's called. The same weakness as Neon Tiger. But I just completely avoided it and used the Buster and Saber. That fire really isn't too difficult to dodge, it's just watching it very closely, and there I didn't even activate the sub-tank like a moron. Oh yeah, even though Hyper C is in your inventory as 0, you can't use it. What that does, that's that move that always gives you a permanently charged Buster. But only X can do it. So yeah, this Sigma's really not too hard. He has the same attack pattern over and over again. But his battle body form that's coming up, I hate it. It's really not that hard when you look at it and look at the repeated pattern, but it's just how small of a window you have to hit him. Or I mean, how small his hitbox is. It can be frustrating. So you have to hit his head, his tiny little head, but you can't do it from the back as far as I'm aware. You might be able to, but you have to be super precise. Otherwise his armor blocks it. And from the front, you basically have to launch your shot just below his left shoulder pad thing, the red piece. And that's what makes it hit his forehead. And even playing in slow motion, I had some trouble here. I used up all my sub-tanks until I finally figured out like the best timing for getting off your shot. But as far as his attacks, it's very predictable. He shoots those 2 ricocheting balls, and when he goes to the left like that, he shoots homing missiles. And he has that death ray thing, which is pretty easy to avoid. The trick with the missiles is to get close to him so he launches him at the floor and then go back to the wall. But again, it's all timing, like one little screw up and then you take a ton of damage, and before you know it, you're dead or out of E-tanks. Yeah, you always want to try to get him to shoot that at the ground so you can actually use that time to get some shots in on him. But I wasn't paying attention. Oh, you can hit him from the back. I didn't even realize I did that. And of course you miss with the saber a lot. At least I do. But yeah, it's very easy to shoot your shot too high and hit the top of his armor, or too low and hit the, like, second, where his gun is, basically. It's gotta be somewhere right in between the two little launcher things on his left shoulder there. And there we go, got him. And as far as I know, I don't think you can die in this next section. Maybe. I'm pretty sure you can't, though. And it looks like you're taking damage, but you don't. It's kind of like a scripted cutscene in a way that you're in control of. Yeah. Oh, you do take damage from the lava. Never mind. But it was only 1 bar. And there you go. That's X3 played as 0 in all the bosses and everything. Pretty cool. Definitely like the ability to play as 0, but as far as this game, I wish it was X1 or 2 play as 0, because I just don't really like X3 that much. So yeah, normally that's all Zero's text. And I believe if you lose 0 and X obtains 0's saber, then Dr. Doppler comes and puts the virus on Sigma. That's the ending I'm used to, because I almost always get the saber for X. Even though I guess technically that's one of the worst endings. I believe this is the true ending of this game, where both of them survive. And this credits text has been changed to mirror 0. Yeah, 0 with the assistance of X. So at some point, I'm probably going to do X1, 2, 4, 5, and 6, but I don't know. And I don't know if I'm going to commentate over it. As far as this one, I'm probably going to upload this commentated version and then a non-commentated one. Strangely, even though I like X1 and 2 the best, I'm more interested in doing or recording my playthrough of 4, 5, and 6 for some reason. I think it's because in those games 0 is playable. But I don't know, I still want to do Metroid Prime, Jet Force Gemini, Luigi's Mansion. I thought there was something else I wanted to do too. There's a really cool ROM hack in development called Mega Man X Corrupted. And that looks really cool, but who knows when it's actually going to be finished. I think it's just one guy working on it. For years he's been working on it. But it's like a combination of all the best of the X series in SNES format. And Zero is playable and can use all kinds of different abilities. Same for X. Yeah, Zero's armor just looks cool, especially black like that. I don't know, I've always liked the 16-bit sprites. I don't know, what's your favorite X game, if you're watching this? Mine is definitely X1. I just feel like those Mavericks are the most memorable, the music is the most memorable. I think in terms of the Mavericks, it definitely goes down with each installment. Like X1 has the best, then 2, then probably this game, then 4, 5, and 6. It's like the names and everything just gets so ridiculous. I think in like X8 or something, there's one called like Panda Pandemonium. It's like, okay. No, it's just Sigma and Kaiser Sigma. Neo Sigma must be X2. Alright, thanks for watching, you guys. See you around.